Are we at war? According to the Trump administration, we're not, in spite of the fact that President Trump ordered the delivery of 50 to 60 Tomahawk cruise missiles to Syria after a nasty, awful, brutal, unnecessary, devastating, terrible, and every other negative adjective you can think of chemical attack, chemical weapons attack that was exacted upon his own people earlier this week. Thank you, Barry Lee. Thank you for your help. Hector, we're going to talk about Syria before we talk about the Raiders. Got to keep things in perspective. This is a huge deal. And so I hope you all be good Zinsters and have the ability or demonstrate the ability to have a multiple brain. Supposed chemical attack. Straighten me out, because, and I'm glad you said that, because, yeah, thank you. I mean, this is really something we need to talk about, because first of all, you can help me understand. Some of you have, everybody has an opinion about it. Me, I have to be honest with you. There's a part of me that says, yeah, hit him right between the eye. There's another part of me that says, you know what? This is something that calls for covert CIA action, not for some big to-do, right? Then there's the other part of me that says, you know what? Trump did this knowing that it would improve dramatically his in-the-tank approval ratings. Okay? It's a very Nixonian move. What did Richard Nixon do as people were sniffing around about Watergate? Bombed. Was he bomb Laos? Bomb Vietnam? Bomb away, right? Approval ratings went through the roof. Pugilistic president showing his macho muscle against those bad people, right? This is the perfect arena for that. Perfect arena. You couldn't have asked for a better situation. And that is what scares the heck out of me. What about you? You know? Now, that's my conflict. I'm thinking, you know, hey, there's a reason why President Obama didn't pull the trigger against Syria. All right? Man, I'm not saying I know the reason. But Barack's a smart guy. People forget this is the same person that killed Osama bin Laden. This is a person who made a joke directed at Nick Jonas regarding Jonas hitting on with his daughter and said, for those of you who think I'm not kidding, I have 2 words for you. Predator drones. That was President Obama. So those of you who think or may think that Obama's weak, Barack Obama is anything but weak. He is a very smart guy. And since Trump isn't so smart, you know, I'm a little concerned here. I am a little concerned here. What say you? Straighten me out. I mean, this is one, I'm still trying to figure out how to think about this. And that's why I wanted to talk, okay? So, we've got Corey Brown, who says, you know, I've got a, speaking of itchy, tricky fingers, I've got a lens here that's not very clean. Excuse me. I gotta clean this off. Hold on a second. Well, bear with me, folks. I just want to make sure this is clean. Okay. That's better. That's better? Yeah, that's much better. Sorry about that. It was a little foggy. Yeah, clean your eyes off over there. Okay, now let me get back to your statements. Yeah, Barry Lee Obama was one of the best presidents we've ever had. I quite agree. Golden State Raider, I salute you as president, sir. Thank you. Let's see here. Zini, mute the CPU crazy echo. Yes, I will do that. I think I got the echo out of the way. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Dustin Scott, thank you for that. Let me go back and see what comments I missed Like I said, Hector, I got you with the Raiders thing. Hey, Tyrek, how you doing? Joe says it's a supposed chemical attack. Can you explain that, Joe? Hector Vasquez, World War III. You know, I hope not. Wait, did America did, says Tyrone Hill. Barry Lee, yes, I heard that not only Russian troops were at the base, but Iran troops too. Ooh. Russia is allied with Syria, Hector. Yeah. Steve Macy, hey, Zinni, all we need, say a prayer for all those affected by the chemical attack. Steve Macy is right. Let's give a moment of silence in memory of those who were impacted by the horrible chemical attack in Syria. All right, back to action. Yeah, back to it. Let's see here. Tyreek Hill says he's confused. Tyreek, you're confused. I'm confused. Barry Lee, I really hope Trump doesn't start another war. I agree. Corey Brown, I don't like Trump's itchy trigger finger putting our troops in harm's way. And this is the second time he's done that. Okay, he did that with that raid, right? So this is twice in less than 100 days he's done that. Twice. Joseph Jones, not trying to sound mean, Zinni, but we have to stop being the world's police force. Our troops aren't supported by our government, and these countries have been fighting for centuries. Joseph Jones, I don't think you're sounding mean. I agree with you, and that's where the conflict comes in my head. You know, I'm thinking, all right, yeah, I get them, but then on the other hand, do we have to be the world's police? Why? I mean, if you really disagree with Assad, send the CIA in after him. You know, we can find somebody from a satellite to their address, let alone the closet that they're hiding in the address that they're at. So, I mean, go after them. You know? Yeah, I'm scared. Yeah, Americans did vote, says Hector. Airplane Blues, different president, same stuff. It's different to me. Can you explain that, Airplane? Because I think this is different. I mean, I don't want to gang up on Airplane, but I want to hear his point of view. This is where all points of view are valid, okay? I mean, this is a no blocking zone. We need to really hash this one out, and so that we can each think about this, because somebody may have information we don't have, an ethnic background that leads them to a different perspective than I've got. I want to hear it, okay? I want to hear it. Let's see here. Okay, I'm muted. Let's see here. I did. Trump criticized Clinton for being a warmonger. Look at Trump now, says Joe. You're right. Joe Lopez. Hello, Golden State. Evening, Mayor. Hope all is well tonight. Thank you, Mr. Macy. Dustin Scott. Perfect. Thank you. Golden State Raider. Barry, salute, respect. We all salute Barry. Thank you, Barry. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Golden State Raider. Golden State, that's what I'm doing, reviewing it. Oh, I see out for a review. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm just getting to your comments right now. Barry Lee says, what I don't understand is why Trump in Florida instead of the White House when he knew we would be attacking. Zachary Jacobs, we took it out an air base. Joseph Jones, I do feel bad for those suffering, but as Gulf War vet, hey, thank you for serving our country, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, as a Gulf War vet, I've seen that this stuff will never end. Hey, can you explain that? And while you're explaining that, I'm going to go and give the review that that Golden State Radio was asking for. And I'm going to tweet this out real quick, okay? So that Syria, okay? So that we yeah. He's in Florida because of bad storms in D.C. is what he heard. Barry Lee, I know the air. I'm going to see. I'm on the White House press list. Let me see if I've got anything in terms of a communication from the White House that I've been on the White House press list since 2012. So let me see if I've got something here that I can read from. I can read you White House press office. Let's see here. These are the latest. Let's see what I'm getting here. This is from the White House press office. What I've got here, this is April 6th. These are from the press pool, okay? The White House press pool, all right? So what I'm going to read to you is basically what I've got here. All right. So, oh yeah, from the Pentagon. Hey, Dustin, I've got some stuff from the White House. I'm going through in order to see. I'm going to read to you backward. In other words, most recent first. And this was from Josh Dewey of Politico. He says, more comments coming in full. This was at 10:42 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's dated weirdly. It was sent 6 minutes ago, but they got the date screwed up. And they got the time screwed up. I'm sorry. More comments coming in full. A few top lines from the briefing at the Tideline Hotel in Palm Beach, Florida. Tillerson on Russia. End quote. No contacts were made with Moscow with President Putin through military deconfliction agreements, though military deconfliction agreements were followed. I don't know what that means. Then Russia will locate these weapons, secure these weapons, and destroy the weapons. They would act as guarantor. Clearly, Russia has failed in its responsibility. Either Russia has been complicit, or either Russia has been simply incompetent, strong words, in its ability to deliver on its end of that agreement. And that's from our Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. That comes from Josh Dowey, White House reporter, Politico. On Twitter, he is JDAWSEY1, okay? And I've got a cell number if I want to contact him with any other questions. That was Travel 17, Travel 19, Feed 2 from Tillerson and McMaster. This is from also Josh Dowsey of Politico. More quotes here to come, Rex Tillerson. It is also important to recognize, as I think everyone does, Javier says, make Syria great again, as I think everyone does, the chaotic circumstances that exist on the ground in Syria, with the presence of a battle underway to defeat ISIS, the presence of Al-Qaeda elements inside Syria, and a civil war that is underway. Clearly, one of the existential threats we see on the ground in Syria is, if there are weapons of this nature available in Syria, the ability to secure those weapons and not have them fall into the hands of those who would bring the weapons to our shores to harm American citizens. Tillerson continues. So there are an appropriate number of elements that, in our view, are called for this action tonight, which we feel is appropriate. We feel the strike itself was proportional because it was targeted at the facility that delivered the most recent chemical weapons attack. We coordinated very carefully with our international partners in terms of communicating with them around the world. I would tell you that the response from our allies, as well as the region and the Middle East, has been overwhelmingly supportive of the action we've taken. That's what they put. H.R. McMaster. It was important during the president's deliberations and in deliberations with his leadership that we weighed the risk associated with any military action, but we weighed that against the risk of inaction, which Secretary Tillerson has already summarized, which is the risk of this continued egregious, inhumane acts on innocent civilians with chemical weapons. The president was immediately notified upon news of the chemical attack. He was very interested in understanding better the circumstances of the attack and who was responsible. That confidence level has just continued to grow in the hours and days since the attack, associated with additional evidence, especially with sadly, with the victims that are being treated, and confirmation of the type of agent which was used, which is a nerve agent. We convened a meeting with the National Security Council to deliberate on operations. There were 3 options we discussed with the president, and the president asked us to focus on 2 options in particular, to mature those options. This is the way this is written. And he had a series of questions for us that we endeavored to answer. We were able to answer those questions and come back to him in a decision briefing today with virtually all the principals of the National Security Council, not Steve Bannon, I might add, here in Florida, and by video teleconference back in Washington. After a meeting of considerable length and a far-reaching discussion, the president decided to act, and that is the general sequence of events. And Golden State Raider, I hope that satisfies your desire to know how we got here. Let me know if you heard that, okay? So, this continues. So, 2 rather large and formal meetings, but really a whole series of discussions since the time of the attacks. Tillerson. This is Tillerson now. As I think H.R. McMaster said, this was a very deliberative process. Thank you, Golden State Raider. There was a thorough examination of a wide range of options, and I think the president made the correct choice and made the correct decision. First, to be decisive in acting against this heinous act on the part of Bashar Assad, but acting in a way that was clearly directed at the source of this particular attack to send that strong message. Other things were considered. Those were rejected for any number of reasons. In my view, the president made the exact correct decision. And that's posted by Josh Dowsey, the White House reporter for Politico. And that is to the White House press pool, of which I am, and the White House press office, of which Zenny 62 Media is a member. Now, there is another one. This is, let's see here, Travel 20. This is the most recent one that I've received from the White House. It goes like this. Quotes below from Rex Tillerson, H.R. McMaster, Noah Bierman, Mike Cole-Pooler will send you the last parts of tonight's news conference in separate feeds. I haven't got that yet. So, what is in this is what I've already read to you. So this is simply repeating what I've already told you. So you're brought up to date, and you know specifically, how we got into this mess, what sequence of events caused us to be here. So there you go. Now, so let's see here. Hope Syrian, go Cubs, how are you? It says, hope Syrian leader not, whole country got the message. Hi, Octavio, how are you? If anybody's just tuning in, I gave a recap. If you want to move your line back a bit, you can see, or hear rather, my recitation of the latest communications from Josh Downey of Politico on the White House press office pool. I'm on, again, Zenny 62 Media, thanks to President Obama, has been on the White House press list since 2012. So I get these communications, and I've covered the landing of Air Force One in Atlanta, and I've covered President Obama's speech here in Atlanta last year. So yeah. Now, let's see here. Getting back to what, let's see here. I think Food Train, I read on CNN a bit ago that Russian troops were killed, but I haven't been able to follow up that anywhere else. Does anyone know if any other credible source has said anything about it? Someone mentioned that earlier in our conversation, Food Train. Hey, Zachary Jacob, it is a no block time, but we do have some standards we have to maintain in terms of people attacking. So, look, I mean, when I say no block, I mean, we can all disagree on this, but the rule of disagreeing agreeably still stands. So, Barry knows what he's doing. He knows what I want. So does Golden State Raider and the other moderators. That's fine. Whatever they did, they shouldn't have done it. And if they want to apologize, they can do so and come back. That's it. Now, but like I say, hey, Zenny, they can't rewind a live stream for some reason. Really? Yeah, that's right. You can't until, yeah, that's true. That is true. Tyreek Hill, so why we did a missile attack? Okay. This is, yeah, I like Dustin Scott's comment. Defense contractors rejoice. Rayathon is loving it. Yeah. You know what? Not only that, let me ask a question. Does this improve President Trump's approval ratings? In your mind, does it improve it? Or Do you think that'll translate to other people? I'm curious. My answer, a little. That's mine. Durant says yes. Joe Percy says yes. I say a little. Dustin Scott has an 8% jump prediction. Joseph Jones says no. John Davis has hello. Hi, John. John, let's see here. Many Democrats have supported this attack. Zachary Jacobs reminds us that's true. Barry says little. Airplane Blue says maybe. Octavio Arias says why. Let's explore that question. I think, well, because you take the very heinous act that we've all seen the photographs from, and we all remember the kids and the pictures and how awful it looked, and then we match it to this. So it's kind of like, hey, you see this is bad, you don't like it, you want to do something, you wonder why the president does something, and so this president does something, right? Supposedly. Now, here's why I have issues with this slippery slope. Now, Go Cubs says Russia was notified before the attack to take its personnel out of the base. Zachary Jacobs says humanity deserves defense. I quite agree. Let me present to you the case of Saddam Hussein. And it's too bad John Marks isn't around, because I think John and I are in the same generation, and he remembers Saddam Hussein. I like Joe's comment. He says, I want to see the evidence that indeed it was the Syrian government behind the chemical attack. Hey, I'm gonna spin two ideas. The first one has to do with Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was a friend to the United States before he was branded an enemy and killed. But all throughout, when he was a friend to us, it was okay that he killed Kurds. He ordered an enormous chemical weapons attack against his own people. So this is not the first time, by any means, this sort of action has happened there. But it's always been okay when the leader that led the attack was doing the United States bidding in other areas. In other words, as long as he was our bad pit bull, whoever he bit, even if his own other friends, we just looked the other way. But the minute he stopped being the person that acted in our bidding, suddenly all this other stuff he did was bad. You see what I'm getting at? And I wonder if some of that is at play here. Now, let's see here. Yeah, he did blame Obama for the attack. And, okay, Turkey says it's a bad nerve gas. It is. This is a historical night to stay up with your research and communications. A lot of important stuff. Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. I want to see the evidence. Now, I'm going to see if the White House has sent any other communique here to update us. And I don't have anything just yet. Let me refresh this. Nope, nothing yet. I will let you know. Let me see if I've gotten any past information from the White House about this, leading up to the communications that I read to you all. And, I do have the statement by President Trump on Syria. I do have that. I do have the statement of President Trump on Syria, okay? I do have that. And let's see here. Barry Lee says the U.S. government... remember, Noriega, right. Joe Percy says they have weight off from the planes coming from airport they blew up to attack. Zachary Jacobs says... Kerry negotiated agreement with Russia that 100% of weapons of mass destruction will be removed, including chemical weapons. 2013. Was that including chemical weapons? Just asking. Jordan Yancey, if this goes wrong, he will blame Obama. Yeah. That's the trouble with this administration. They try to act anti-Obama without knowing why they're acting anti-Obama. In fact, I think that may have played a role in this attack. In other words, hey, Obama didn't do it, and so therefore I'm going to do it. You know? Yeah, I mean, 831 Scott, let's see here. What did 831 Scott say? I missed that. Trump will never look good, in my opinion. He disgusts me. He said he felt sad for the innocent people, including the little children that got killed, but yet he will not allow any of them into our country. Yeah, I don't like that either. I agree with you. And I understand Trump's idea of trying to stabilize Syria to stop the flow of refugees, but heck, let them in. Why not? I mean, we've got gorgeous Irish waitresses we let in illegally all the time. Truth. You know? So, some of which I've hit on. So I'm just saying, okay? Playing for the earth. I am. Bush will blame Clinton. My son is a Marine, and I'm worried he will be shipping out. Hey, 831 Scott, our prayers to you, you know? I feel for you. I do too as well. Not only that, Eric Grubman has two sons who are deployed. So prayers for him as well, because his sons are out there. You know, Eric Grubman from the NFL, right? So this is the kind of thing that brings us together in ways we never imagined. Really is. Now, let me see here. The statement by President Trump I was going to read to you. I will do that right now. Given from Mar-a-Lago, and it was delivered at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The President, my fellow Americans, on Tuesday. Oh, and by the way, Tyrone, you want to know how we got into this situation. Here is President Trump's statement. It also doubles down on a request by Golden State Raider, all right? The President, my fellow Americans, on Tuesday, Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad launched a horrible chemical weapons attack on innocent civilians. Using a deadly nerve gas, Assad choked out the lives of helpless men, women, and children. It was a slow and brutal death for so many. Even beautiful babies were cruelly murdered in this very barbaric attack. No child of God should ever suffer such horror. Tonight, I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched. It is in this vital national security interest of the United States to prevent and deter the spread and use of deadly chemical weapons. There can be no dispute that Syria used banned chemical weapons, violated its obligations under the Chemical Weapons Convention, and ignored the urging of the UN Security Council. Years of previous attempts at changing Assad's behavior have all failed, and failed very dramatically. As a result, the refugee crisis continues to deepen, and the region continues to destabilize, threatening the United States and its allies. Tonight, I call on all civilian nations to join us in seeking to end the slaughter and bloodshed in Syria, and also to end terrorism of all kinds and all types. We ask for God's wisdom as we face the challenge of our very troubled world. We pray for the lives of the wounded and for the souls of those who've passed. And we hope that as long as America stands for justice, the peace and harmony will, in the end, prevail. Good night, and God bless America and the entire world. Thank you. There's President Trump's statement. Now, right. You know what's interesting about that is it points a signal to us being police again. Barry Lee says, yeah, I saw on CNN where one man was holding his children in his arms right after they passed away, and to make things worse, he lost his wife and also the fire family. Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, and thanks, Barry Lee. You're right about that. Chemical weapons are weapons of mass destruction. Thank you, Zachary. NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical are all considered WMD. Thank you. John Davis, where did they get the weapons? Great question. Dustin Scott, Octavio, neither do Syrian refugees. Barry Lee asks, Zenny, do you think eventually we will put troops on the ground and remove him from power? I don't know what he would do, but what I would do is I would send in the CIA on a covert action to get rid of Assad. That's what I would do if I were president. It would be unknown. it would be silent and it would be effective. That's what I would do. So, Joseph Jones, sorry, Zinni, we need to take care of our own people before letting refugees who will get everything handed to them. Homeless veterans and children and other Americans need our help first. Code of support. I hear you. Code of support. I understand. I just believe that we have so much riches that it will not harm our gigantic economy to allow refugees to come in here. We are an enormous place and quite wealthy. Let's see here. Oh, going back here. They're playing blues. I bet George Soros played some people. They got the weapons from Iran and maybe Russia. And Tyreek Hill says, why did Syria do this, man? You know, Zinni, do you think this will cause World War III? You know, I don't know. Let me look up something here. I want to see if I got any, I don't have anything new from the White House yet. Let me look up something here, because I am curious. Syrian Civil War. I think if I can read to all of us, because I am woefully undereducated about this, if I could read, why we are dealing with this in this way, why this is brought to our face, I think it'll help. And, okay, Syrian Civil War, armed conflict, which reportedly started March 15th of 2011, all right? And let's see here. Now keep in mind it's from Wikipedia, which sometimes can be accurate, sometimes can be inaccurate, all right? Just keep that in mind. But I'm going to read to you, what I found here, all right? And see if that helps. Hold on a second. My goodness, yeah. All right, now, here we go. The Syrian Civil War is an armed conflict taking place in Syria. The unrest in Syria is part of a wider wave of 2011 Arab Spring protests. Remember the Arab Spring, where social media played a gigantic role in the toppling of several regimes? This sprang, no pun intended, from that, okay? I remember the Arab Spring. That was a seminal moment in social history, in social media history. Do you remember the Arab Spring? Yeah, okay. Now, it grew out of discontent with the authoritarian government of President Bashar al-Assad, there we go, and escalated to an armed conflict after protests calling for his removal were violently suppressed. The war is being fought by several factions: the Syrian government and its allies, a loose alliance of Sunni Arab rebels groups including the Free Syrian Army, the majority Kurdish Syrian Democratic Forces, the Salaf jihadist groups, including the al-Nusra Front, who cooperate with the Sunni rebel groups, and the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. That's a complicated stew right there. I mean, that is a complicated stew. I don't know. I'm learning, okay? That's a complicated stew. Now, Syrian opposition groups formed the Free Syrian Army, FSA, and seized control of the area surrounding Aleppo. Remember Aleppo? And parts of southern Syria. Over time, some factions of the Syrian opposition split from their original moderate position to pursue an Islamist vision. Again, an Islamist vision for Syria. Joining groups such as al-Nusra Front and ISIL. ISIL. Sometimes we call it, right? ISIL, all right? In 2015, the YPG joined forces with Arab, Iranian, Armenian, and some Turkish groups, Turkmen groups, to form the Syrian Democratic Forces, while most Turkmen remain with the FSA. Okay? Russia and Hezbollah, military engaged in support of the overarching Syrian government, that's Bashar al-Assad, right? While beginning in 2014, a coalition of NATO foreign countries began launching airstrikes against ISIL. International organizations have accused the Syrian government, ISIL, and rebel groups of several human rights violations and of many massacres. The conflict has caused a major refugee crisis, what we're talking about. Over the course of the war, a number of peace initiatives have been launched, including the March 2017 Geneva peace talks on Syria, led by the United Nations, but the fighting continues, all right? So basically this is all an outgrowth of the Arab Spring, all right? And again, the Arab Spring came about against Bashar al-Assad. It was discontent. Remember, they got Syria. I mean, they tried to get Syria. They got Libya. Remember Gaddafi? They got Gaddafi. So this was a movement of massive proportions, again, fueled by social media throughout the Middle East. Fueled by social media. Okay? Now, I don't think World War III is upon us yet. No, this is not that thing. Now, could it trigger that thing? That's the question. But this is not that thing. Because it deals with a compartmentalized civil war, and we haven't destroyed anybody, harmed anybody that has the capability of really taking us out. All right? And not only that, because of the complications of this war, it's not cut and dry. You know, it's not like the old wars. You had the Allied powers and the Axis powers. This is a little different. Now, you've got people defending Bashar al-Assad, like the Russians. And as long as Bashar al-Assad was alive and kicking, he was able to kick ISIL's butt, right? And so that might give you some clue as to what President Obama was thinking. Hey, I need him in my fight against ISIL, right? So I'm reading this again. Basically, it goes like this. Again, this war grew out of discontent with the authoritarian government of President Bashar al-Assad and escalated to an armed conflict after protests calling for his removal were violently suppressed. The war is being fought by several factions: the Syrian government and its allies, that's Bashar al-Assad, okay? Then you have a loose alliance of Sunni Arab rebel groups, including the Free Syrian Army, that's FSA. You have the majority Kurdish Syrian Democratic Forces. And remember, the Kurds were gassed to death and chemical weaponed to death by Saddam Hussein about, 25 years ago, okay? And then you've got the jihadist, Jalafi jihadist groups, which includes the Al-Nusra Front, who cooperate with the Sunni rebel groups, and ISIL. So you've got those folks against the establishment. That's what we're dealing with here. So this is not, right. I mean, this is not, and so Zachary says, name the countries involved: Russia, Syria, United States, Iran, Jordan, Israel, Egypt, on and on. Those are the primary. No, Saudi Arabia doesn't have a primary stake in this, but you have to remember that from the standpoint of, look, ISIL is at the center of this. Let's make no mistake about it. But also, you need to understand, and if you don't know the Arab Spring, read about it. Because that's what started all of this. Now, if you want me to now read to you about the Arab Spring, I'll do that. Oh, by the way, a sports note, if I may. Kevin Durant is going to return to the Golden State Warriors on Saturday. Kevin Durant returns to the Warriors. Mark it. NBA champions. NBA champions. Now, let's talk about the Arab Spring. Let's see. Hey, how are the moderators doing? How are we doing tonight, everybody? Okay, I'm going to read to you about the Arab Spring right now. The Arab Spring was a revolutionary wave of both violent and nonviolent demonstrations and protests and riots and coups and civil wars in North Africa and the Middle East that began December 17th, 2010 in Tunisia with the Tunisian Revolution, okay? The Tunisian revolution effect spread strongly to 5 other countries: Libya, Egypt, Yemen, Syria, and Iraq, where either the regime was toppled or major uprisings and social violence occurred, including civil wars and urgencies. All right? Sustained street demonstrations took place in Morocco, Bahrain, Algeria, Iran, Lebanon, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, and Sudan. Minor protests occurred in Djibouti, Mauritania, the Palestinian territories, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, and the Moroccan-controlled Western Sahara. This is where I need Morgan, my dear friend Morgan Bach. She is an expert on this. Just keep that in mind. I'm going to bring her in on one of these live streams to talk about this, because she was in the middle of that as an American citizen, so to speak. I mean, so to speak that she was in the middle of it, but she is an American citizen. Anyway, I digress. Now, a major slogan of the demonstrators in the Arab world is Ashabaha Yadan Nemes, which means the people want to bring down the regime. The people want to bring down the regime. Okay? So that now, this goes on and reads it, but what it doesn't explain about the Arab Spring is how I stand corrected here. Social media and the Arab Spring. This is very important to understand, folks. In the wake of the Arab Spring protests, a considerable amount of attention has been focused on the role of social media and digital technologies in allowing citizens within areas affected by the Arab uprisings as a means for collective activism to circumvent state-operated media channels. The influence of social media on political activism during the Arab Spring has, however, been much debated. I will say this. I've read a number of blogs during the Arab Spring. They were central and key to the spreading of ideas. Look, it's easy to discount it, but if you have only state-run media telling you something, and you can't reach outside or beyond your borders to get other information or communicate with other people by WhatsApp, all right? Hey, Zachary, why are you leaving us? You don't want the war talk. Zachary, I stick around. It's going to change, but this is something that we had to do, okay? I mean, it's a good, thank you, Zachary. Yeah, no, I mean, thank you. But this is something that, it's a learning period. You know, I think everybody's interested in this, and, you know, I am, and, you know, I hear you, okay? It's all good? Okay, I hear you. All right, I didn't want to lose anybody, you know. Hey, you're going to bed? Go Cubs. 10-12 in Denver. I hear you. Okay, it's 12-11 here, all right? But anyway, it was social media that did it. Yeah, that's right, John. It's power to the people. And so, but here, you know what? I'm glad we went through that exercise. I didn't want to read the whole thing. But my point is that this brings us back to the question of why Trump is doing this. And I'm going to say this. Does Trump know who he's siding with? I mean, it's one thing to, you know, bomb the airfield, right? But is he bombing the airfield to, and he's, all right, if he's, here's my point. I'm going to say something really controversial. Hey, Ellis, how are you? Well, I hope it's not controversial. Is Assad gassing kids that are part of ISIL? I'm just asking. Let's see. Barry Lee says, Zinni, what was the question? Let's see here. I missed that. Barry Lee, Zinni, what was the question that you were going to ask John Marks at the beginning of the stream? Oh, yeah. Hey, John, do you remember Saddam Hussein? Thank you, Barry Lee. Do you remember Saddam Hussein? And how Saddam, it was a friend of ours until he wasn't a friend of ours? Do you remember that? I mean, do I have that incorrect? Am I wrong about that? Same for Osama bin Laden. He was a friend before he was an enemy, right? But Saddam Hussein more pointedly goes back to the 1979 Iraq oil crisis, all right? Okay? Right. And so then, I remember the Shah of Iran was toppled by the Ayatollah Khomeini, and then we get the rise of the Ayatollahs. And within that, Saddam Hussein came to power. Now, and as I understood it, Bin Laden was, when I say a friend, he was a friend. In fact, I think part of his education was in America, and he has a lot of American ties. And Bin Laden was helping fight the communists. Yeah, that's correct. That's right. And so, but see, what's fascinating to me about this, this is, what's got me about this whole deal is that, look, if Trump is bombing Bashar al-Assad, he's bombing the establishment, right? Now, ISIL is fighting the establishment, okay? See how complicated this is getting? I'm not saying that what Bashar al-Assad did was right, okay? But the bottom line is, I mean, those gassings are terrible. But once again, we have Saddam Hussein all over again, okay? There's something, yeah, right. And Ellis Conway said, we're all about money, at least, yeah, there is. Joseph Jones, they were all our allies, Zinni. Hussein fought us with our older weapons. Thank you. Thank you, Joseph Jones. Right. And John Davis said it right. Wasn't he in pictures with Bush? He was, yeah. And John Mark said something that just went out of, and yeah, I remember the American hostages in Iran. I was in Skyline High School. That's right. Yeah. And, yeah, that's right. And see, John Mark says that's how the yellow ribbon was on the New Orleans Superdome. Thank you. January 25th, 1981, Super Bowl 15. The Oakland Raiders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Or the famous, hey, where's that nose tackle coming from Super Bowl? That was Dick Vermeil yelling about the Raiders nose tackle Reggie Kinlaw, who was routinely getting in the backfield and stuffing their great running back Wilbert Montgomery for losses. I remember that game. Yes. And Octavio Arias, what about all the people killed in Black Africa every year? We can't police the whole world. That's right. And John Mark says 27-10, Raiders over the Eagles. That's right. Excuse me. The Oakland Raiders. Who's the announcer? Bill King. But I digress. Okay? But I digress. Oil. Zachary Jacobs, Syria is the gateway to Europe. Is it? Explain. The gateway to Europe for the Middle East? I mean, geographically. John Marks, last Oakland Super Bowl victory. Are you sure? Yeah, you're right. Oakland Super Bowl victory. Right, Oakland. Zachary Jacobs. Friends of my enemy are mine, and they change all the time. Right. But I'm still interested. Ellis Conway. And we never get involved unless there are resources to be had. We're not going to war because of the kids getting killed with chemical warfare. If that was the case, we'd be dealing with water and Flint. Well said. Well said. Thank you. And you can argue that the Flint, Michigan catastrophe is a kind of a chemical warfare against our own. But with the dirty water and no one doing anything about it and kids being impacted and dying. Oh. John Marks. Here, yes. Zachary's calling for us to settle down. You know, this is really an interesting discussion because it helped me, and I'm glad that you all, indulged me to really, talk about this because it helped me, I'm writing live stream talk now. It helped me put together how the Arab Spring was at the center of this. And not only how complicated it is, and how Trump may have made a tactical error in the bombing because, Rex Tillerson said it was a one-off. And 831 Scott says, Zinni, I think Trump is doing this as a ploy to try to get the American people behind him. Yes. He knows that we are patriots and unite in times of war or disaster. It's not going to work for him, though. I think he may have made a mistake here. Because if you say that you're trying to go after ISIL, and yet Bashar al-Assad is going after ISIL, and ISIL's trying to topple that regime, right? And ISIL is teamed with the FSA and 2 other groups, then what you did, in effect, was actually empower ISIL. You know, that's what I'm getting at. I know that what's going on there was really horrible. But that's why I say if you don't like doing it that way, maybe, excuse me, the best way, not maybe, the best way is to go covert action and deal with Bashar al-Assad, you know, as a regime change in a clandestine way. That is, have the CIA take care of him. Barry Lee says, I think, yeah, Octavio, thank you. Turkey is Europe. Correct, Ellis. Okay. Yeah, Ellis, you're absolutely right. Sorry about that. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Ellis Conway, yeah, that's right. Ellis Conway, you're absolutely right. Right on. No, they're no right on. No, they're no right on. I'm writing right on. Ellis. All right, there are no easy answers. Maybe we can now. I think we've probably right now pretty much exhausted this one for now. I mean, we'll just let's just jump around in our conversation. Let's switch to the news. Let's see here. The Raiders news. We didn't get a chance to talk about. Is that the reason the flag went half-staff today? I don't know. I would guess it is. Oakland Raiders. 800K to Coliseum JPA. That's something we didn't get a chance to talk about last night, all right? And this story goes back some ways. This story goes back from some, yeah. Thank you. A moment for John Glenn. Now, yeah, John Glenn, great American. Thank you, Zachary, for that. Basically, you know, having us, telling us exactly what time it is, right? You know, America is going to suffer badly with Trump now, with President. Honestly, you know, this is going to be interesting to see what happens here. I think. Excuse me for a second. I am still struck by this whole issue. Ellis Conway says, this is a coincidence that the same day Iraq claims to have fully liberated Mosul, hours later Syria gets bombed? Yeah, that is odd. But see, Iraq, right, it is odd. And in the news, Raiders are signing Lynch, Sherman, Adrian Peterson, and other players can't afford. Wait. Are the Raiders going to sign all those guys at once? Is that right? Let me check that. Marshawn, is that, what is this? Is that like the blaze of glory? Let me see, I'm typing Marshawn Lynch. Let's see here. He still hasn't made his deal here. He says he intends to unretire. It hasn't happened yet. There are people who say that the Raiders should get him. He's told the Raiders he's ready to go. I think it would be a definite. Yeah, Don Rickles, sad loss. I think it would be a definite game changer. But I am not in favor of Marshawn Lynch. Excuse me, I'm not entirely against Lynch. But I think the Raiders should build through the draft. I don't think Adrian Peterson or Marshawn Lynch is the answer. Except in the case of Lynch, it would be ticket sales. Let's face it, Marshawn Lynch would sell a heck of a lot more tickets than Adrian Peterson, and the Raiders need that considering that whole Las Vegas crap, okay? Quinn Baca, what are your thoughts on the NFL owners meeting to possibly change the rules on the use of recreational marijuana? I think it's about time, because too many good players are getting caught up in having their characters negatively judged because of their use of marijuana in the wrong state. So you use marijuana in a state that's legal like Colorado, no one says anything. But then you jump over to, say, Alabama, and suddenly you got an issue. That's not right. The NFL needs to really be the home for its players. Needs to make it needs to give them some, way of easing themselves. Yeah, Lynch is injury prone. Adrian Peterson is injury prone. Octavio Arias says draft a cornerback and a DL. Steve Collins points us to the fact that Lynch is injury prone. Barry Lee says, I agree, as long as the player ain't high, talking about marijuana, when they're on the field, then who cares? Hey, reports indicate the Raiders may have interest in Sherman. I really think John Marks is right. Build around 52 Mac. Hey, Paul Dog, how are you? There are great players coming out of the NFL draft to help the Raiders. There's my, Mr. Number 44 from the Florida State Seminoles, defensive tackle. And let's see here. Thoughts on Sims being booted for Romo. Let's see here. Sims being booted for Romo. I thought Romo was going to retire. Did I miss something here? Hold on a second. Let me see here. Tony Romo. Let's see here. I don't see. No. I don't see what you're talking about here. Oh, I get it. You're saying, what are my thoughts about Phil Simms in the booth? I get it. I'd like to see that. But I have my own issue with Phil Simms. And I met Phil Simms at the 41st Super Bowl in Miami when I was a guest of the agency he signed up with, which is IW and 10W, I believe it is. And so it was a nice spread. We got there late. The guys that run this sports marketing firm are great. I had a great time talking with Phil Simms. And then I saw him later at the NFL draft red carpet. This was after the heating up of the news about concussions and how older players are being affected with CTE and so on. And I wanted to ask him about Gridiron Greats and Mike Ditka's effort to raise money for retired NFL players who were impacted by this and largely forgotten. And Phil acted like he didn't know me, let alone didn't see me. And so I basically made a video that said Phil Simms was a jerk. Okay? And I don't think he took too kindly to that, but the bottom line is, and I think after that, it was kind of affecting my being on the NFL red carpet because I didn't say anything bad about Phil then, but the bottom line is he didn't treat me that way. So he didn't treat me with the respect I felt I deserved. And so, let alone the fact that I met the fellow and I wasn't saying anything bad, but he was really being off the chart. Ugh. So, seeing Tony Romo replace Phil Simms would not be something I would be entirely against. But having said all that about Phil Simms, I will say this. I like Phil Simms as a color man, an announcer. I know he makes mistakes on occasion. But, Tony Romo would be really cool. Yeah, Tony Romo in for Phil Simms. Is that going to happen? I wonder. Is that going to happen? Now, Paul Dog, question. Since I'm no longer interested in the NFL, can you tell me how the stadium is going in San Francisco for the Warriors? When is that going to open? Is that on track? Oh boy, I worked against that one. You say you don't want to talk about that, and I'm thinking, I don't want to talk about this. I lost. Oh my God. I have purposefully ignored that news. Let me see here. Oh, God. Let me see. Let me see here. Warriors' new stadium. All right. Warriors. Let's see what the news is. Warriors' new stadium. Or arena. Warriors unveil. Here's the latest news, okay? Warriors unveil local restaurants for SF's Chase Arena Center. All right? And the report is that, let's see here. The report is that you'll have Bake Sale Betty there, and 4 other food businesses. You'll have Sam's Charter House of Half Moon Bay. You'll have Big Nate's Barbecue. And what else? You'll have, let's see here. You'll have Bon Appetit. And yeah, that's what you'll have there. I'm sorry, I was trying to... The website for the San Francisco Chronicle is really all screwed up. They've got too much stuff on there. It takes too long to open. They still... Ugh, I hate visiting it. I hate it. I mean, it just is awful. Yeah, awful. Hate it. Anyway. Okay, now. Octavio says Lynch has more upside than Adrian Peterson. He's right. Joseph Jones, how can they afford to sign all these players and re-sign Carr? Well, they're not going to sign all those players. They haven't done that. They're checking him out. Kaepernick needs a job. How about Tony Romo and Tim Tebow in the booth? Yes. Zachary Jacobs, it's done. What's done? Can we have an insensitive contract bringing in Oakland Super Bowl before move? Oh, we could do that. I have the plans to add the seats back in my home. We could do that. Now, oh, by the way, let's see here. Predator Kingdom. That shit bogus how hell Tony Romo went straight to the A booth when you got guys who put years of work with CBS like Samuel Wilcox. Wait, is that confirmed that Tony Romo's going to CBS? Let me see that. You guys are talking about it like it's a done. It's like it's. I hate that term, done deal. I'm trying to get that out of my brain. God, I hate that term. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Hate it. Let's see here. Trying to quit that. Go here. Go here. Tony Romo. Booth. I'm typing Tony Romo booth. Oh, he had a picture on with a CBS jacket? Hey! Tony Romo to replace Phil Simms in broadcast booth. NFL.com 2 days ago. I missed that. He'll be in the booth with Jim Nantz. Okay, so I missed that. I missed that, folks. Tony Romo will replace Phil Simms in the CBS broadcast booth. Good for him. It says Tony Romo, who will be released today by the Dallas Cowboys and reportedly retire, will join the CBS broadcasting booth and be paired with Jim Nantz as the network's lead football analyst, reports John Alran and Adam Schefter. Schefter adds he might eventually broadcast golf for CBS as well. I wonder if he's up here for the Masters. I mean, Georgia. 2 hours away from Augusta, right? Now, while Romo is immediately being hired for a broadcasting gig, isn't much of a surprise. ESPN earlier reported that basically every broadcast network was hot after him. It is somewhat of a surprise that he's being hired in his CBS #1 booth. There, he will replace Phil Simms, who has been CBS lead analyst since 1998 and has been paired with Nantz since 2003. It isn't clear whether this move will result in Simms leaving the network or if he'd get bumped down to the #2 booth, which is currently held by Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts, or even further. One complication, as Aran reports, is that CBS has the Thursday night package for the first half of the season, and the NFL has previously mandated that a network's top team call Thursday night football, So not only would Tony Romo be in the top booth as a broadcasting rookie, he would also presumably be broadcasting 2 games a week. So there you go. Tony Romo replacing Phil Simms. Yes! Okay, sorry. I just, you know, is that bad of me or what? Is that bad of me or what? Okay. Now, so I hope that winds of 40 miles per hour and lights out the East Bay. What's going on in Oakland? Let's see here. Someone talked about a Godfather reference. Jerry Jones offered him a deal he could not refuse. Another Godfather reference. That's funny. Let's see here. Paul Dog, Zinni, question. Have you been to East Lake in Atlanta? Great course, home of Bonnie B. Jones. No, I haven't. I don't get out much around here. I like to, but I don't. Predator Kingdom. I would hate to see Simms with Iron Eagle, though. Iron is a beast and should be #1. Fouts is better with Iron. Yeah. Barry Lee. My buddy said Facebook will have a few Thursday night games live stream. Yeah. I wonder. I have to check on that. The NFL is actually opening up bidding for the live streaming. And I asked Brian Rollup, the head of digital media for the league, if multiple platforms could bid as one. And he said, yeah. So you could have, you know, Facebook and Twitter joining forces, or YouTube joining forces with someone else, or Yahoo, that sort of thing. You could have that. So, in fact, I need to broadcast that, because I don't think a lot of people know that. Let's see here. Simms. Zachary Jacobs says Phil Simms swims with the fishes. And I'm glad you did pick up that topic for me. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The Syria attack is bad, yes. Hector Vasquez. As games look so dead in today's attendance. Explain that, Hector. Raiders game, stadium will be full. We'll see. The jury is out with that one. We'll see what happens. I think if Mark Davis makes moves to stay here, yes. If not, no. No. I'm not going to say the stadium's going to be empty. There'll definitely be people there, but it won't be the wait list, because a lot of people are dumping their season tickets. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Zinni, question. Are you going to the News Braves ballpark? Yes. Would love to see a live stream from there. See park and your thoughts. Great idea, Paul Dog. I'll work on that. Rod Shooter. That's because the A's play 82 home games a year and the Raiders only 10 games. Jose wrote something I do not recognize. Zachary Jacobs. Good night, Zachary. Thank you. Hey, thank you for being a very valuable part of this fantastic conversation tonight. When will Vegas deal implode? If it's going to implode, it will have to be in the next 3 to 4 months. And I would say within the next year. But let me put it this way. The longer time Davis takes in shoring and not shoring up, let me put it this way. The longer time Davis takes avoiding the issue of making relationships to make the deal work, that in of itself is something that causes the deal to implode. Why? Because everyone is on a timetable with this. If he's dragging his feet for some reason, or maybe he wants something else to work out in Oakland, which is great to our benefit, it's not great to Vegas's. And so he's got until April 18th of next year to really get something going using that subsidy. He's got NFL approval, but then there's this gray area. The big deal is if he does not sign the non-relocation agreement. If he doesn't do that, it's a big issue. No word on Ronnie Lott, Hector. And I think that's a big problem where Lott didn't have a party to lot to have a party to, you know, talk to us. So I've got to find Bausman and tell him that we are here, because Thomas Beltran says the deal is dead. That's right here. East Bay Sports loses. Bausman has this interesting, he says he's done. Love y'all. Truly do. Stay safe. Even his deck is spec. He's worth it. I'm going to let him know that we are here talking about Syria and the Raiders and Durant. Again, Kevin Durant will be back with the Warriors on Saturday. And if Kevin Durant returns to the Warriors, it's lights out for everyone else. Yes, I'm quite aware of LeBron James' monster dunk against the Cavaliers of a couple of nights ago. But we're talking about KD. Okay? We're talking about KD. Now, let's see here. Joseph Jones. Zinni, I don't know about you, but I'm frustrated with some of these fans insulting the city of Oakland. Me too. Well, sort of. We Oakland all wear their fans like family, but when they leave, they talk bad about our city. And you know, you're absolutely right. Barry Lee, are you working on any more Skype interviews planned? I am, Barry. I thought I had Greg Grizz lined up tonight, but that didn't quite work out. Let's see here. Enrique Puentes, Vegas isn't family friendly. He's correct. Vegas is not. Joseph Jones said, KD awesome, says Paul Dog. Steve Macy, you think the Raiders are looking at Lynch to bring fans out? Yes. Oh, that would be tremendous. He went to Cal. I'm a Golden Bear. Oh, he's a tremendous draw. He's got a store downtown in Oakland, Beast Mode. How many people have seen it or been there? Okay, you seen it? 831 Scott. If the A's get a new ballpark at Howard Terminal, they will sell the place out and have a waiting list. Yes, this will enable them to sign some big names and push to win a World Series again. Absolutely. Howard Terminal will be a bigger game changer for that part of Oakland than AT&T Park has been for that part of San Francisco. Although I have to say, that's not to discount the impact of AT&T Park, previously known as Pac Bell Park, on that area. Because prior to that building there, King Street was basically in the dark because the Embarcadero Freeway went right over it. Remember that, John Marks? And the Embarcadero Freeway went over it, curved around the waterfront, and then the ramp stopped right out around what is Washington Street right now. So you could basically come right in from the Bay Bridge, okay? You take the Fremont Street exit, okay? What is now the Fremont Street exit. You curl around there, okay? And it would take you down, it's kind of this little embankment, it would take you down into this Embarcadero Freeway, which actually merged with 101, which is merged with 101, and they would hug right around there. What happened was that after Loma Prieta earthquake, that entire stretch of freeway, pancake, damaged, okay? And then it was removed, completely removed, all right? So, Fernando says, if Al Davis was still alive, what do you think the situation would be? I think the Raiders would be here, and I think he would negotiate to get a stadium here. He wouldn't move the team. Predator Kingdom, the fact that Mark Davis is even having second thoughts just tells you that the Vegas deal is going to implode. Yes. Hector Vasquez, Warriors winning NBA championship will ease some of the wounds of Oakland. That's true. Fernando Contreras, or did Mr. Davis learn from his father? He says so, but I think this Vegas move is about something else that he's not entirely letting on. Okay, I'll be candid with you. I asked a friend of mine who works at the Coliseum in a capacity I won't say, because if I say, that person will then be very recognizable and that would give away who this person is. I said, so-and-so, why is it that Mark is so hot to move for Davis? And my friend said, and I quote, well, I know he's got a couple of girls there. And I said, this is all about a couple of girls? That can't be. And my friend said, there you go, okay? Now, Mike Stein, where's the report that the Raider deal is not going to happen? You can find it right here, Mark. I still say it ain't happening. Sorry. That thing is dead to me. That thing is dead to me. I don't care what anybody says. It's dead to me. I will not believe it until they actually have secured all the financing and they start actually building the stadium. And they don't even have the land. They got nothing there. So you tell me, Mark, where is this Raider deal? It ain't happening. It's not happening. What do they have? They have a right from the NFL to go to Las Vegas. But what is that getting them right now? They have a subsidy for $750 million. What is it getting them right now? They are the furthest behind of any team that has tried to relocate in NFL history, including the Raiders of years past. So what are we talking about here? The Raiders of years past didn't have to move to a stadium to have a city to have a stadium built. So what are we talking about here? All right? You tell me. You thought you were going to get me with that? You didn't get me with that. Ha. I'm telling you. I just told you. Look, where's the deal, Mark, to build the stadium? Where is the stadium going to go, Mark? They haven't given them $750 million, Mark, because you know why? The county has not approved stadium construction. Clark County. They have no lease. They have all these hurdles to go through. So what do they have, Mark? They've got nothing. All this could go wrong. So what do they have? You don't have a planning background. I do. They don't have a development agreement. They got nothing, Mark. They got nothing. Who do you believe, Mark? You believe in Jesus Christ or Mark Davis? I believe in Jesus Christ. All right? They got nothing. Nothing. Like I said, that deal is dead to me. It's still dead to me. Now, crickets. Yeah. Predator Kingdom. The total project is going to cost around $3 billion, so $750 million isn't nowhere near enough, dude. Don't even bother bringing that up. Mark Zinni, explain this to me. How is Mark Davis going to be $1 billion in debt if he's getting the money from the city taxes in the NFL? What? Mark, you obviously don't know what this is about. Okay? He's $1 billion in debt from the Bank of America agreement, which could be more than $650 million, because, Mark, you don't know this. You obviously don't know Senate Bill 1. I do. I know it like the back of my hand. The developer and the Raiders have to be responsible for all cost overruns and all costs above the $750 million. So what are you saying? What? He's got a deal. He doesn't have a deal. Mark, stop sounding like a parrot. What? He's got nothing, okay? I'm going to start calling you the penguin like I'm Batman. Mark's got nothing. Mark, don't make me call you Burgess Meredith the penguin. Mark Davis. Yeah, come on. Admit it. There's nothing there. I'm going to have a field day with this, man. I'm going to have a field day with this. Explain to me how the bank funding is funding the stadium. Mark, how do you know the bank is funding the stadium? Where does it say? Come on. Here was Mark. Here's Mark. Here's Marcus Burgess Meredith the Penguin. Bank of America's funding it. But, hey, Penguin, have you seen the financing? Don't know how to find it. Where is it? I need that financing. I mean, come on. He probably, that's funny. Mark, is the bank giving $750 million? No, he's not. No, Mark, you so don't understand this deal. Oh, I have to explain this all over again. Mark, if I explain this, will you retain it? Penguin? Penguin? I'm asking you a question. What? Are you? Penguin? Penguin? What? Come on. Okay, I'll explain it. All right. Here's how it goes, Penguin. It's like this. The Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Act has several different primary actions. One of them is to call for an 88/100ths of 1%, okay, increase in the hotel tax, so that money, that additional money, okay, will be used towards $750 million over a 30-year period stadium bond issue. Basically, the $750 million are the proceeds, but the actual cost of the bond issue is about just over that. It's about $947 million, almost $1 billion. Okay. Now, the big problem with the way that was done is that the debt coverage ratio for the bond issue. The factor of 1.5 to 1 was used. All right, Mark? Why is that important? Because normally in deals like this, it's a 2. What does that mean? It means that you have to identify a revenue stream that in total is 2 times the bond issue plus interest. But when they actually used 2, what happened was that the total debt coverage they would need was outside what the tax would deliver. So guess what they did? They lowered it to 1.5. I'm the first to make note of that. I made noise about that last year during the Southern Nevada Tourism Infrastructure Committee hearings, and 2 Las Vegas council members posted on their Facebook pages and said, hey, this guy admits he's for Oakland, but he's got a point. We need to look at this. And during that time, there was an alternative proposal that had the subsidy at not $750 million, but $550 million. Mark Bourdain had a baby. So we can't do that. The Raiders are not pleased with this proposal. So they changed it. Now remember, through all this, there was one giant that was involved. Sheldon Adelson in Las Vegas Sands. Okay? Keep that in mind. And what happened during that time was, originally, it was thought that state and local governments would pay for transportation improvements and pick up the slack, okay? But Craig Cavalier of Majestic Realty and Robert Goldstein, the president of Las Vegas Sands, both said that Las Vegas Sands would cover, and Sheldon Adelson would cover, the cost overruns. Okay? So what happened was that when the Southern Nevada Tourism Infrastructure Act was written, the bill, all those promises to cover cost overruns were made law. See, something you have to remember about Nevada is this. It's completely different than California, assuming you live in California. California, we have something called home rule. Home rule is where each city and county and the elected officials determine their tax revenues and so on. But in Nevada, they're governed under something called Dillon's Rule. Dillon's Rule is such that the legislature sets the tax rate for the counties. So being a governor in Nevada is really a huge deal. It's like being king or queen. It's really very powerful. Anyway, so what happened is that bond issue is capped, and it said they can only be used for construction, but there's a catch. Remember, folks, how the Raiders said, oh, we got $500 million for this project, right? $200 million in NFL G4, $200 million for PSLs, $100 million basically out of their pocket, but really it was from the NFL for the purpose of the Raiders stadium. Remember that? $500 million? Well, actually, it's $300 million. Why? Because the way the bill was written, I encourage you to read the bill. Go to Google, type Nevada Senate Bill 1, click return. It's the PDF file. Download it and read it until your eyes bleed, Mark. Now, the reason why I say that is because that bill is designed and written in such a way that the stadium authority what is now called the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, sells the PSLs, and they take the money, and they put that money into, thanks Mark, yeah, they put that money into what's called a stadium construction fund. There's no language, Mark, anywhere in the bill that calls for the Raiders to pay for PSL cost overruns. None. Okay? None there. Now, there's another provision. It's Section 29H. And 29H2, I believe it is. But it says that the developer is responsible for the payment of an adequate amount of off-site transportation infrastructure costs as determined basically by the Nevada Department of Transportation. Last October 10th, it really hit the newspapers on October 14th of 2016, the Nevada Department of Transportation said that the transportation projects needed to adequately handle traffic from the stadium will cost in total $900 million. And Steve Sisolak told me that the Raiders would have to pay for at least one interchange, I-15 at Tropicana. That's $200 million right there. Boom. Okay. And that doesn't include the land prep, land purchase, and on-site infrastructure costs they have to deal with. So this thing, when you start adding up all the costs involved, it goes north real quick, Mark. So right now, the Raiders looking at, if the relocation fee is indeed $375 million, and you take the Bank of America loan and add LIBOR at 414 basis points, right there, you're looking at $1.051 billion in debt over the $750 million. Yeah, the NFL let Mark have a rider. But as Stephen Ross told me, he said, look, he doesn't have the money. He said this to a number of people, the owner of the Miami Dolphins. Mark Davis doesn't have deep pockets. And they're letting him do this deal basically being leveraged to the hilt, like in my term, some piss-poor Southern American country. There you go. So you want to tell me they've got a deal? As Sisolak told me last week, Davis hasn't talked to Adelson. Davis hasn't tried to patch that up. The casinos don't want to work with him already still, okay? So what does he have there? Nothing. What does he have? He's got a gigantic hill to climb. And that organization, given the way they do business, is not structured to do it. What I mean by that is this. In Oakland, we have them owing $800,000 to the JPA. $800,000 that, through their own accounting tricks, they claim they don't owe. But they do owe it. They're going back and forth. This is the second bad faith problem the Raiders have exhibited this year, the other one involving Sheldon Adelson in Las Vegas. This is a case of a very bad girlfriend taking her behavior, her bad behavior, and trying to foist it off on some other dude. I'm just saying. But then you say you want her back. And yeah, we do. Because we know how the bad girlfriend is. And we're kind of used to that, right? But we love the bad girlfriend. Now, okay, I hope that helps, Mark. Quinn Baca, you shouldn't insult people who don't know what you know. Thank you for educating us, though. Well, okay, here's the thing. I think, Quinn, and I see your point. I think you're absolutely right. But my point is this, all right? People, I mean, he was teasing me and saying, hey, where is this? Hey, I'm teasing him back. You know, and Mark is cool with it. I have nothing against Mark. He has nothing against me. But there have been people who are basically saying, okay, because of the vote, Quinn, that means that everything I said is wrong. And that's not true. The NFL gave Mark the right to move to Las Vegas. But that does not mean the deal is a good one. See what I'm getting at? All right. Pink Guy, I'm glad we attacked the Syrian base. Pink Guy, you missed that great conversation we were having. Billy Payne says, I'm glad when they bombed those sorry bastards. Okay. Let's see here. Steve Macy, no problem. Paul Dog, Zinni, I love your wisdom it showed in your April Fool's video. I thought it was so well planned out. Thanks. Thank you. David Hutchins, might be second guessing myself now. It could be a special pencil. Okay. John Davis, in the news, workers survey land on Russell Road near the Strip where a $1.9 billion football stadium is proposed to be built for the Oakland Raiders and UNLV football. Yep, that's right. Let's see here. Mike Starnger, thanks for your information, Zinni. You hold a lot more information than you do. You try to say I'm smarter than I look. What are you talking about saying I'm not smart because I'm black? What does that mean, dude? What? Tell me then, if you're the owner of the Raiders, what would you do and where would you go to build a stadium? Zinni, hold up the pen. We need to know what color it is. Okay. Let's see here. Predator Kingdom. Zinni, as owner, what would be the best? Okay. Pink Guy, I understand the consequences of bombing Syria. One word, Russia. Hey, Pink Guy, you understand the consequences of bombing Syria? I have one word for you, ISIL. Just saying. Now, Mark, to answer your question, this is what I would have done. If I were the NFL, I would have focused squarely on building a state-of-the-art sports entertainment complex in Oakland. And I would have done so because the land value is so much greater. And I would have made overtures to the major tech players, to Mark Zuckerberg, to Jack Dorsey, to Ron Conway of SF City, and I would have established plans for the first truly tech facility of the 21st century. Now, what do I mean? I mean this. Right now, if you go to a stadium, there's no place to enjoy or talk about or see the latest in technology. You know how you might go to TechCrunch Disrupt and you have the Startup Alley? I don't know if you all are familiar with that or not. Or the launch event in the Bay Area that's put on by Jason Calacanis, who founded Engadget. Or Angel Startup, or Zahaba's Stroud's Angel meetups with angel investors and tech people, where you go to different booths and tables and you see what entrepreneurs have built with engineers and all kinds of different people. Why not have that in a stadium so that the people, you want to reach the people anyway, they can see the latest, get excited about it. Someone among them may be an angel investor. The tech entrepreneur gets an investor, right? That's right there at the stadium, right? Or how about using the state-of-the-art where in San Francisco there is this electronic restaurant where you can go and you use your iPad to order your food. Why not be able to do that at a game? Where you can order, you have these satellite ordering places, right? Where the food is right there in a store and you can get that. Pay it, you get it. Boom. Right? You don't see that at any stadium right now. I can go on and on and on with about what I think the areas are for really great innovation that haven't been done. And in the Las Vegas case, everyone tells me, oh, Las Vegas is a hotel city. Well, how come the stadium itself doesn't have a hotel system built into it? Why did they partner with a hotel brand? Just asking. You see what I'm getting at? I hope that answers your question. Sorry, Paul Dog, I missed your questions. Paul Dog, any question? What plans does the city have now with the land at Coliseum? There's one plan to clear the Coliseum and make it for biotech. That includes the arena. There's another plan that includes just the A's, but a lot of people want the A's at Howard Terminal, including the A's themselves. Barry Lee, Paul, I think they're planning to use it as mixed-use development with shops and apartments, and biotech. Paul Dog, Zinni, you've seen all the new advertisements at the Coliseum. D. Caval has a ton of new sponsors waiting for the new announcement of his stadium. Yeah, and he is an example of stadium management done right. Everything he does, ask yourself this question. How come the Raiders haven't done this? And they're going to Vegas and they think they're going to make more money? Steve Macy, it's time to get some rest. Hey, good night. Everybody, good night, Steve. Thank you so much. Thank you. Rich Carlson. Lee Steinberg indicated that Oakland had no real chance of keeping Raiders. Vegas, the NFL Raiders have momentum, and that Vegas Raiders will have no problems in that stadium making money. He did say that. No, Lee said that. I disagree with Lee regarding how successful I think this particular deal would be, and you know, I see what and Barry is absolutely right. That's cool. You are free to block anybody for racist comments. You don't even have to justify that to me, Barry. Thank you very much. Let's see. David Hutchins is. I'm subscribing. Not clear. I have no idea. Sorry if I couldn't make you happy, David. I can't make everybody happy. But whatever. I mean, I don't know what the level of your unhappiness is, but I can't imagine anything I said that was wrong. I didn't. I'm supposed to give my opinion. I did. You give yours. Now, let's see here. 831 Scott, if the Raiders moved to Vegas, the team would be worth billions on paper because of the new stadium. Mark could sell 20% of that he offered Lou Wolf and make out like a bandit. But he could do the same thing here. See, this is what bothers me and why I tend to get mad when statements like that are made, because everyone talks as if Oakland can't build a new stadium. We have a plan to build one. And the NFL could have built it in the Bay Area, which is much richer. Las Vegas is not the Bay Area. And not only that, people keep trying to say, well, like Lee said that, and I didn't correct him, I was just letting him talk, but this is a fundamental error in judgment that I think Lee made. Lee talked about Oakland's population, but Lee forgets that Oakland is at the center of the San Francisco Bay Area. And the Bay Area is much bigger than Las Vegas. But I didn't want to get on there and have a debate with him because, you know, frankly speaking, I didn't feel like it. I wanted him to have his platform. But the bottom line is, I wanted people to hear what he had to say. I didn't agree with it, but I wanted people to get his completely explained and presented view without me, you know, peppering it over, trying to silence it. I didn't think that was the right thing to do. That doesn't mean I agree with him. Okay, now, shot by Durant. So realistically, how long do you think it would take before they're in Vegas? 3 or 5 years? If that. If that. If that. Richard Carlson. Zinni, I'm 52. Hey, I'm 54, Rich. And I have mixed feelings. I want them to stay, but I don't see how they would, if they could build in Oakland. Why doesn't it happen? Because they haven't made it happen. Oakland has really worked to try and make it happen. The mayor certainly made her mistakes. But the one thing you can't take away from is the fact that the Raiders have not been cooperative. 831 Scott, I want the Raiders in Oakland. Zinni, I was just stating that because I think that might be what Mark Davis is thinking. I get you. I get you. JP from the EP. How you doing, sir? My Peppers channel. Is there Silicon Valley money in SF Bay Area? Well, considering Silicon Valley is in the Bay Area, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, cool. All right. Barry Lee and John, thank you for protecting me. Much appreciated. It's 1:06. Let's see here. It is now 98. Not bad. I started at 11:30, went to 12:30, and went to 1. You are awesome too. Thank you all very much. Thank you all very much. This has been fantastic. Thank you all very much. I did get your tweets. Thanks. Not all of them, though. Aaron Blaylock, will Oakland make this a messy breakup, or will we have... I'm going to stop at 1:30, by the way, folks. It's 1:07, which is 10:07 out there. Will Oakland make this a messy breakup, or will we enjoy these final seasons watching the Raiders win in Oakland? The breakup is already messy. The Raiders have done their part. You know, look. Hey, Z, how about Music Hall of Fame for Oakland? I like it. I like it. I like it. You know, this is a great time to be in Oakland. Let's see here. This is a block, and that is gone. Okay, fine. Got rid of that one. All right, now. Okay. Let's see here. I love blocking people who are nasty. See, that's my version of this of cruise missiles or predator drones. Now, Rich Carlson. I grew up in Northern California, Lake County, and when Raiders moved, I cried. Now I'm in Louisiana crying again. What can we do? Yeah, wow, that hurts. Pray. Never discount the power of positive prayer. Pray. I'm serious about that. Pray. I mean, no, as FB Lassie points out, a lame duck situation is not when you want to enjoy. Yeah, we're all praying for Oakland. You know, our city deserves better. No question about it. It just does, okay? It really does. So, it just deserves better. Any news on Beast Mode? No, nothing yet. No one has, no. Paul Dog Zinni, going to bed, always enjoyable, God bless. God bless you all too. I'll be back on Sunday. Tomorrow's Friday and then Saturday, okay? What about Amy Trask leading a task force and calling it the Trask Force? I like the idea. I like that idea. I like that idea. I like that idea. John Marks, I wish Oakland could have listened to you. I do. I wish Libya put me in charge. I would have been so fun, and we would have done an extraordinary job together. But she didn't, and now I'm pissed. I'm just being honest, okay? I am pissed, and I think I'm making a great candidate for mayor. And I'm not going to be shy about it. I think that my talking about this is going to push her to be better. Yeah, she undoubtedly doesn't like it, but she's got to understand that when you have your people you've known for years, your friends, you call them your brother or sister, and they are the best qualified to do a thing, you do not leave them on the sidelines. You employ them. If the tables were turned, and I felt that she was the best to handle a situation like bringing together lawyers and or her great thing, which is forming nonprofits to help underserved communities, would not have hesitated a second to bring her on in that capacity. That's the right thing to do. Let's see here. Johnny Fernandez, I would want to know if we were keeping the Raiders. Yes! We'll fight to keep the Raiders. The fight is not over. It's behind the scenes, and that's all I can say. Now, let's see here. It's too late. Actually, no, it's about the right time. It's not too late. Nah, it's not too late. Never give up. Never give up. Hi, Zinni. Hey, Raider Kuko, where you been? Let us know of any events for keeping the Raiders. Thanks. I will do that. There's something coming up on the 23rd of April. Mark that. I'm trying to get Godfather Grizz on the show so he can talk about that. Mark that. Okay? Hey, does anyone know how the A's did tonight? Let's find out. We read it. We talked about Tony Romo. Let's see what's going on. We talked about Oakland A's. Let's see here. Oakland A's. Oakland A's. Let's see. Kona will be on ice at A's game today. Motley Crue. Motley Crue is being played at the A's game. Rooted in Oakland. Let's see here. A's top the Angels 5-1. Triggs gets the win for 4-game split. So there we go. Thank you, 831 Scott. I saw that. Yep, they won. So it was a 4-game split. They won 2, we won 2. But we won the very important first game to get the Oaklanders excited. David Hutchins. Hey guys, logging back on now. Do we ever get the answer if the pin is opaque or white? Oh, it's opaque. I'm sorry. It's opaque. See that? Take a look. Can you see that? See, it's opaque. See? See, it's opaque. All right. Hey, Maniac, how are you? Well, it's actually opaque white. It's both. It's both. See that? You can see my finger on the other side of it. See that? See that? There. See that? Okay. See, there you go. See that? What color is the ink? The ink is blue, I think. Joseph Jones. Zinni, do you think that Davis is still holding out to see if Oakland will give in to his demands? Yes. Yes. I do think so. I do think so. I do think so. Hey, how did everybody like Melissa last night? And how about Nestor? Remember, Nasty Nestor. WNST. We never stop talking Baltimore sports. That was a fun duo. That was a fun duo. You know? Nasty Nestor. Nestor Aparicio. That was fun. And then, you know what? We have the next live stream on Sunday, NFL Draft Focus. I'm going to have a lot of NFL Draft Focus videos. I may even do a special live stream between now and then. Steve Collins, Zinni. I live in SoCal, and there's no other place like Oakland. I mean that in a positive way. When I go to games, I feel like part of the culture. There's no other stadium I've been to with that feeling. Hey, Steve, what do you think about, first of all, what's the sports situation down there? Are people excited about the Rams and with respect to the Chargers? What's your feeling? What's your read on what's going on down there? Can you share that with us? Hey, Jovi, no one's gonna block you. It's just, can you kind of stop screwing around? I'm just saying, you know, you're gonna have fun and all that, but I don't care. Hey, folks, leave Jovi alone. Unless he says something vulgar, and then, hey, Jovi, remember, you're blocked. All your comments come down. So there's no trail to be left. It's just kind of gone, all right? So the best thing to do is just, you know, kind of be an adult and play with us. We're having fun. Are you drunk? Anyway, I'm just asking. ATL is fine. Miguel Rose, do you think the Raiders should get a good defensive tackle? Yes. I'm still high on the Florida State guy. I really am. I think sometimes people in the draft think too much, or who analyze, they think too much. They overthink what you see on the video. Miguel Loma, how are you doing? You're a great speaker and sound intelligent. What school do you attend? I went to the University of Texas at Arlington for my undergraduate in, they called it general studies, but I went originally for architecture, but within architecture they had city planning, and then 2 years, just less than 2 years after I got there, they were going to get rid of urban planning. So I scrambled around, and with the help of the city planning staff there and the great professor, I made my own planning degree major. Then I went to Berkeley, got my master's in city planning, and met a lot of people I know to this day, like the great Kofi Bonner, director of urban land at Lennar. Let's see here. Do the Bears owe money for parking fees? Asked John Davis. Does the bear crap in the woods? Does a bear crap in the woods and basically place down $800,000 worth of crap? There's your answer. Flash of thunder. I feel wind gusts 50 miles per hour. What? This is in the Bay Area. Is it 50 miles per hour? What the heck? Jesus. Are you kidding me? Man. Richard Carlson, how is the land going to be freed up? And are the A's going to cooperate with it being under new people running the show? The A's want to go to Howard Terminal. Emiliano Jesus Diaz. I'm from Argentina. Is that sad that Trump is bombing to Syria? Is that true? Yes, it's true. Flash of thunder. Yeah, in Bay Area, talking about the winds. Octavius, what's up with Skype call? We got to work on that. I mean, Octavia, I want to know you. I don't know what you actually look like before we do that. No offense to you, but everybody that I've had on, I've had a relationship with, I know what they look like, that sort of thing, all right? So I have to give you a test call. John Morgani, power has been out in East Bay Hills for over an hour now. Ooh. Stephen Collins, sorry, Zinni, but I'm all about the Raiders. I understand, Stephen. All my friends and family are Raider fans. I've been a season ticket holder now for 30 years. No apology necessary, I understand. You live in Rodeo 50 plus, says Dawn Twits, all right? 831 Scott, it's going to be tough for me to even get to the draft or anything NFL for that matter after the Raiders moving thing. You know, I understand. I think the buffer for me is I've covered the draft now since 2005, and so it's never been just the Raiders for a long time. I was at Raider headquarters in 2004, in 2003, but I always had this dream of going to the NFL draft. And in 2005, with the help of NFL then Executive Vice President of Government Affairs Joe Brown, that happened. First to cover the NFL draft with an internet-based account. First to cover it with a YouTube channel, Zenny62 in 2006. First to cover it with Livestream. I brought Ustream to the NFL draft in 2007. A lot of innovations. You know what I look like. Now I'm just looking. Big rig overturn on Bay Bridge? What? What the heck is going on in the Bay Area? Big rig overturn on Bay Bridge. Which side of the bridge, Corvette? Was it the, not that, I'm just curious, because that's a, geez Louise, 50-mile-per-hour winds? My friends and family 49er fans, not sure. 74-mile-per-hour wind gusts at Mount Davis. Mount Davis, and 64-mile-per-hour wind gusts at Bay Bridge, according to local news. Whoa, says Fresh. Wow. That's like oh my God. I flew in from San Diego today. The turbulence with flying into the bay was crazy. Lots of scared people. Heading SF, says Flash of Thunder. Golden Touch 274 offered that. Miguel Rose. When are you going to do a live stream Raiderettes? I'm working on that. Is still hope for Oakland? Yes, there is. Simra says I'm so sweet for some reason. Thank you. Maniac 5900. If A's came out and announced tomorrow they relocated Jacqueline, that would bring the Raiders back to the table. Yeah, it would be a big deal if the A's would come out and say, you know what, Howard Terminal, ours. Stephen Collins, we need to stay positive. Do not give up the fight. Like Zenny said, bad deal all the way around. We don't know what is happening behind the scenes. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Thank you, Mr. Collins. This is a great show. This is a great show. Barry Lee, I got to get Barry Lee a pizza. I got to get some. I got to send him a gift. Both Barry and John and all you moderators, I'm going to figure out some kind of way of taking care of you guys. You guys have been outstanding. Really have. Should Raiders get Richard Sherman and Marshawn Lynch? I've got a new client, actually. I'm going to be doing the social media for SF Clubs. Actually, that's Ray Bobbitt's outfit. He's got 3 nightclubs in San Francisco. I'm toying with the idea of doing a live stream at one of his clubs, So stay tuned for that idea. I think I'll do that. Oakland Raider fan 95. Should Raiders get Richard Sherman or Marshawn Lynch or just Lynch? I'm in favor of both. I really am. I'm in favor of Seattle, Oakland, right? Why not? M.L. Scott, the Ram. But, I'm also concerned about the Raiders getting too old. I think they should be appropriate. I think they should work to get younger, but be speckled with veterans, wildly crafty veterans in key places like defensive back and running back. Now, no, Bank of America Golden Touch 274 has not made any official comment as of this, and I'll focus on that. Barry Lee says, what kind of clubs? Oh, nightclubs, dancing. Like, for example, Harry Denton Rouge on the corner of Polk and Broadway there in San Francisco. That's one of them. Then there's, I think, Club X, and there's another one. So have you ever thought about doing a live stream with Jim Plunkett? Not until now. Great idea. Oh, Jovi was just messing around while I was listening. My bad. Thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you. We honor your presence here. Octavio, Lynch will play only two more years before move. He won't play in Vegas. Whew. 122. We're stopping at 130, folks. Just letting you know that. So if you've got a pizza to go and eat, go do it. And I'm going to think of innovative ways to do this live stream. I think I really like this, and I really believe, we're on to something here. Somebody wrote something in kanji that's interesting. Thank you for deleting it, because I don't know what it means. And there's no translator here yet. Let's see here. Thank you very much, Barry Lee. Rich Carlson, what about with Cliff Branch and why he's not in the Hall? He needs to be in the Hall. He really does. Morris Bradshaw needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I like Mo. Morris Bradshaw is a Raider class act to the nth degree. I have known Morris Bradshaw since, 1997. Great guy. Yeah. What do I think about what Trump said today? Oh, what's my favorite piece to eat, Miguel Rose? I'll tell you what I like. I like Lou Malnati's Pizza in Chicago. Deep dish is my favorite. In Oakland, Star Pizza on Grand Avenue. Best deep dish, even better than Zachary's Pizza. Okay? Those are my two favorites right there. I love deep dish pizza. Morga, the SNTIC hasn't been signed yet by MD. You mean the relocation, right? Is that a way of letting the world know he wants to keep that backdoor option open so he can get out once he finds out how much debt he might be getting into? Yeah, he's dragging his feet on it. I'm glad you brought that up. He hasn't signed that thing. And I tell you, he's going to drag his feet like he's wearing cement galoshes. You know? It's going to take that long. Watch. Jim Plunkett. Octavius, pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, and black olives. Yeah. R.S. Cambanos, tell a scary story, please. I have a scary movie for you, but it's funny. It's called Get Out. See it. It was great. It's 124, folks. Rich Carlton, Cliff Branch before anybody else. His numbers are as good as anybody in that era. Yes. Yes. They are. They are. They are. Tom Flores. I like that idea. Hey, give me more female names. We said Amy Trask, the Raiderettes who were in the logs issue there. Who else? Maybe a former Raiderette, an ex-Raiderette. You know? Oh, Zinni, it's Carson as in Johnny. My favorite talk show host. You know, I wasn't around. I wasn't born when Jack Parr was in action. I was, but he was kind of waning. Johnny Carson was the gold standard. The gold standard. Scary stories. Raiders not going to Vegas. Actually, that's a good story. Deepak Singh. Why Americans always indulge in fighting with Russia? Deepak, it wasn't always that way. That's a good question. Let's see here. I think it is that Joseph says, how about Libya herself? And they may get your point across. I'm trying a slick way of doing it. But getting back to Deepak's point, I'll make it very easy with you. Russia has, for some particular reason, wanted to place itself in a position of being our challenger as a superpower. And as to why that is psychologically, I do not know. I do know that they were our allies during the World War II, but I also know that there are a number of people who thought that we should have snuffed them out while we had a chance after World War II. I'm not joking. Okay. John Marks knows what I'm talking about. 126, folks. I'm going to start saying good night, everybody. Winding down, because by 1:30 I'm going to be shutting off. So, thank you all very much. This has been fantastic. There is a lot of prostitution in Vegas. But thank you all very much. Good night. Thank you, Barry Lee. Thank you, Golden State Raider, if you have not left already. Thank you. Thank you, Miguel Rose. Thank you, John Davis. Thank you, Richard Carlson. Thank you, 831 Scott. Thank you, Steve Collins. Good night to you, sir, Mr. Lee. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Golden Touch. I'll do a longer one next time. What time do you get in? I'll try, but it's 1:27 in the East. Maybe I should start earlier one of these days. I keep threatening to do that. Miguel Rose, good night. Good night, everybody. Good night, Rito Kuko. Good night. Mania, good night. I'll answer that question another time. Good night. Don't discriminate October was right. And Jenna Vegas. Get all the girls and whatever. Good night, everybody. Good night, John. Good night. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Thank you all. Thank you all. Good night, everyone. Good night. This has been a fantastic show. And God bless the United States. God bless you all. God bless America. God bless those in Syria who lost their lives. And read about the Arab Spring, because I'm going to read a lot more about it. See you Sunday. Simoga, always thank you, Simoga. Thank you. I love you. I love you all, brother. Thank you, man. You guys really mean a lot to me. Good night. And Golden Touch 274. I'll be back. We'll be back. And thank you. Thank you all. You're a good man as well. Hey everybody, give us thank you for the likes. Thank you for the likes. I don't know why people are thumbing it down, but hey, we got a Russian commenter there. I don't know what it reads. Let it stay there though. Don't block it. Let it stay there. Let it stay there. Let it stay. Good night. Good night. Good night, everybody. Oh, you didn't have to block. Oh, Barry. No, you shouldn't have deleted it. Oh, no, I wanted him to stick around. It was a good I mean, unless you can read Russian and I can't. Maybe you did something I wasn't aware of. Okay, fine. I don't do Friday and Saturday. I take 2 days off. I resume Sunday through Thursday. Oh, yeah. Yeah, live stream, Mr. James. I do Sunday through Thursday. Now, over the past week, I've done like I wasn't gonna do a Saturday. I ended up doing Saturday. I did 2 on Wednesday. So I took a break earlier Monday. I took a break because it was the Final Four. I had actually done 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, and so I kind of felt like I needed that break, right? But I'm trying. So I want to avoid doing too many of these because at the time slot, because I didn't want to chase people away and have the same subject. This has been great because we talked about different things, right? And this is more along the format that I want, where we talk about the top news of the day, Raiders stuff, Warriors stuff, wherever the flow takes us within those lines, all right? I like that. Good night, everybody. And folks, I am saying good night. No show tomorrow, nor Saturday. Good night, everybody. I'm going to bed. Thank you all so very much. Thank you. Thank you. See ya. Thank you.